Hi there, welcome to Cybersecurity Dojo. My name's Dave, and in today's video, we'll be deep diving into the world of phishing. We'll cover everything from what phishing is to how to identify it, and 3 essential tips to help keep you and your organization safe from harm. With that being said, let's jump right in. So what exactly is phishing? Phishing is a type of social engineering attack where cybercriminals attempt to trick you into giving them your personal information. This information can include things such as usernames and passwords, credit card details, or even your social security number if you're based in the United States, for example. They do this by pretending to be someone that you trust, such as your bank, a social media website, a vendor at work, or even a coworker. You may receive a seemingly convincing email that asks you to perform some sort of action, such as replying to an email, clicking on a link that goes to a login page so they can capture your username and password and pretend to be you, or download and install malicious software, or malware for short, on your computer so they can infect both your computer and maybe even your network. Goal, however, is always the same: to steal your data. And this is typically done for financial gain or perhaps to even cause business disruption. Now that we have a good understanding of what phishing is, let's talk about some of the red flags that we can look out for to identify potential phishing emails. I've created a sample phishing email for us to look at, and together we'll break down the red flags that make the email suspicious. This email appears to be from Microsoft, letting us know that our password is expiring and would be locked out of our account after 24 hours. However, they were nice enough to leave a link that allows us to keep our current password. Let's review the red flags, starting from the top of the email. The first red flag that we'll be looking at is the external tag in the subject line of the email. Now, a lot of organizations use tools that automatically apply external tags to the beginning of emails, specifically ones that were sent from an external sender. While this does not provide definitive proof that an email is phishing, as individuals and organizations frequently receive email from external senders to do business, it should cause you to be skeptical and scrutinize the email further. The next red flag that we find in this email is the sender's email address. The email appears to have been sent from no-reply@microsoft.com. However, upon closer inspection, we notice that the O in soft does not appear. Criminals commonly register lookalike domains to appear legitimate. Another thing that we can look out for that is much stealthier is substituting Latin script characters, such as the letter A, with a character from the Cyrillic alphabet that looks very similar, but computers consider them separate characters. Now, if you look closely at the letter A in bank in the first line on the image on screen, you'll notice that it does not look the same as the letter A and the same word on the second line. That's because the letter A is from a different alphabet. This is an extremely sneaky way that cyber criminals try to kind of get one past us, because as humans, it's very difficult to be able to tell the difference, even though computers consider these completely separate characters. Lastly, I want to mention the possibility that the sender's address can be changed or spoofed to trick the recipient into thinking a message came from a person they know and trust. Now, there are ways of detecting this by reviewing email headers, which we'll cover in a later video. Next up, we have the email claiming our password will expire in 24 hours and we'll be unable to access our account after the allotted time. Now, this is a tactic that's commonly used by criminals to create a sense of urgency and cause us to panic, so we'll comply with whatever they're asking us to do without thinking. It is worth noting that legitimate organizations very rarely use this type of high pressure tactic. Next, let's talk about the link in the email. One thing that we can do is hover our mouse icon over the link, and the destination URL or website will show up on our screen. In this case, the link goes to a website that does not match what is listed in the email. For this specific type of email, the goal is very likely to get the recipient to click on a link and provide their username and password so the cyber criminal or threat actor can sign in as them. It's also worth noting that a URL shortener, such as bit.ly links, may be used to obfuscate where the link is actually going, and is therefore very suspicious if you are both not expecting this email and you happen to see a shortened URL being used. Finally, ask yourself if you were expecting this email. At this point, we can confidently say that this is an illegitimate email. However, if we're still unsure, we can use whether or not we were expecting the email as a determining factor. If you were not expecting this email, and due to the presence of the other red flags that we discussed in the video, you can safely say that this email should either be reported to the security team at work or perhaps just ignore the email. So to recap the red flags that we covered in this video, first, we discussed the external tag that a lot of organizations append to the beginning of a subject line in an email that came in from an external sender. And while not concrete proof that an email is phishing, when combined with other red flags, this can be considered suspicious. Next, we went over the sender's email address to make sure we recognize the sender before taking any action. We then scrutinized what the email is asking us to do. In this case, it was asking us to click on a link to keep our current password, which is expiring in 24 hours. Next, we reviewed where the link actually goes by hovering our mouse icon over it and found that the destination link does not actually go where it's claiming to go. And lastly, we asked ourselves if we were expecting the email. Now that we know what phishing is and the red flags to look out for, what are things that you can do to help protect yourself and your organization from falling victim? Here are 3 practical tips that you can implement. First, even if you recognize the sender but weren't expecting anything from them, it's always best to reach out to them via phone or in person to validate the legitimacy of the email prior to taking any action. Second, if the email is claiming to be from a service that you use, do not click on any links. Instead, go directly to the company's website, either through a bookmark or typing in the URL into your search bar. And lastly, when in doubt, throw it out. If the email seems suspicious, it's always best to err on the side of caution. And do not click any links, open any attachments, or reply to the email. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found this video informative or you would like to see more content like this, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, and I will see you later. Take care.